I'm never wrong. I'm a living monument to being better than anyone. So tell me something I don't know. You can watch me on my next show. I can show you what a king does.
What's up, everybody? This is Brent Brookhouse. I am here with All Ego Ethan Page. It's time for another edition of the Bitter Boys Club. Ethan, we had a week off there. Missed out on a little bit of stuff, like talking about the first Alpha 1 iPay-per-view, but we're going to do that today along with a whole lot of other stuff. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, and I'm very sorry for last week. Yeah, we'll make it up to our listeners this week for sure.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into it all, but I just had some personal stuff that just had to take priority, so here we are. Let's touch on that Alpha 1 show first. How do you feel about how it all went down?
Oh man, I'm still am very proud of it. Alpha 1 just tweeted out today that since the actual iPay-per-view live stream, which was I think April 15th, a minimum of one person has watched it every single day. There has been days where it's multiple people, but I'm just happy that every single day someone new is either tuning into Alpha 1, learning about Alpha 1, falling in love with Alpha 1. So very happy.
Yeah, I guess how was the process of running that show with those considerations? I mean, I know you were prepared. You talked a lot about that you were running it as a pay-per-view, which, I mean, it was. But how did that change your process of handling the show?
Well, I'm very meticulous no matter what when it comes to running events, but this one was a little special. I made sure there was no more than 7 matches with one segment because I knew I had Hacksaw Jim Duggan as a surprise. And another frivolous expense just because I wanted to have that I should have been there factor. So seven matches, one segment, and we ended up adding last minute Zachary Wentz versus Trey Miguel just because I felt like it was a waste that they were there without actually being on the event. So good stuff.
Yeah, and it felt like that match, the added Wentz Miguel one, was maybe shorter than I would have expected, which makes sense since it was kind of just fit into the show as a whole.
Yeah, they had 5 minutes.
Which is fine. I mean, it's 5 minutes in front of both the live and internet audience. So, nothing wrong with getting your 5 minutes there.
Yeah, and honestly, they had probably one of the best matches on the show in that 5 minutes that they had. So it's a good pat on their back for how well they did with what they were given.
Yeah, it was really good. I went back today and rewatched a little bit of it. Like I watched Josh Alexander, Simon Grimm again. That was, I thought, a very, very solid match. Not that that's surprising, but it at least warranted a second viewing from me. So that says something.
Awesome. Well, thanks for checking it out. What was your overall thoughts?
I thought it ran really smooth. I liked the. I mean, and this is something I'm a little more familiar with Alpha 1 than I think I would be otherwise because. I mean, I had talked to you a lot when I was at Flow Slam about wanting to get Alpha 1 on Flow Slam. I think I can say that without any more legal threats, but it was one of the things that I would have liked to have seen on Flow Slam because I like and we've talked about it a lot, but the consistent long-term storylines I thought made for something compelling to tune into. And my whole idea was to take the shows and the back catalog and break it up into effectively a weekly TV show because it has storylines that can sustain that kind of format. So, I mean, that's always kind of been my favorite Alpha 1 trait.
We put a little test together, too, for that.
Yeah, I mean, I cut together, and without, the editing skills of other people that the company had who were very, very talented, I just cut together a very rough thing featuring, some of the packages you had put together on YouTube with, one of the shows you had, just as a test, and I thought it worked really well. Obviously that didn't work out for whatever number of reasons, but, that's Yeah, I like independents that aren't the super indie, you know, make huge matchups and that's all that matters. I'm a storyline guy, so I like that, and I like that you didn't abandon that in the face of, you know, it wasn't, oh, it's an iPay-per-view, so I'm going to try and do something different than what we do. It was very representative, I thought, of the Alpha One product overall.
Yeah, and I've always believed in what we've been doing, so it wasn't even like a struggle to decide what we were going to put on the show. It was like there was guys I wanted on the show too that I had to tell, like, look, this is not personal. I'm only doing these 7 matches, so I'm very sorry. And like they understood, and it was like a team effort. And I'll give you a little insight of there's like a group chat on Facebook where I kind of just stay in touch with all the people that work for me regularly, and harass them to promote shows, promote the DVDs, promote the Powerbomb.tv promo code Alpha One. And they all thought of this as a very special opportunity and night for Alpha One and themselves and their careers. And everyone was very proud of what we accomplished as far as a show goes from top to bottom, especially because we had it playing on a laptop in the basement. And there's a photo of everyone watching Simon Grimm versus Josh Alexander on the monitor. And it's a photo I'll keep. I obviously can't tweet that because guys that were wrestling each other were sitting beside each other, or past feuds, whatever. But it's a cool photo for me to see the people that I employ to wrestle care about the product enough to sit and pay attention to it during the show.
Yeah, that's good stuff, and the usual very good crowd, very invested in, you know, the personalities and storylines and everything, which again is a benefit to the style that you run. I mean, you know, BMD winning got, you know, the crowd was very into that, and more so than you get a lot of times with the super indie stuff, because it's not got the same level of emotional investment, I guess, from a regular crowd.
I would agree.
So
I would agree. And our fans thought of it as something special too. So it was, you know, good on both ends. And Powerbomb, the crew that was there, were very, very, very happy with how invested the audience was. And yeah, it was like, honestly, I can't say enough good things about it. So I'll just leave it at that. You can check it out. It's still available, the replay, in full quality with the videos that air to help you understand what's been happening on the events. So yeah, check it out.
yeah, and I think you guys handled intermission well, also with, you know, the videos to
Well,
kind
thank
of
you.
explain the second half matches and everything. So that was good. What led you to Hacksaw though?
So I'm not going to pretend that I'm like some genius, but he was in town doing an autograph signing and like a talk show, like where, I don't know, it's like Q&A with WWF Hall of Famer. So it was kind of fallen in my lap, and I just offered him enough money to cover all his food and drinks while he was in Canada, and he had no problems with that. And I kept it very close to my chest and didn't tell anybody, because I wanted even the ring crew to be like, "What the fuck?" Because I want that. If we're doing an iPay-per-view, you can't miss it. It's going to be something special, and that's exactly what I feel like we accomplished. And the pop he got was insane. So it was like a pat to my back, like, hey, you made the right decision.
Yeah, I've got to say, watching it, it was unexpected. You could have, I would have named a lot of people before I got to Hacksaw Jim Duggan as being a surprise.
But wasn't it awesome?
It was awesome. I'm I'm a Mid-South Wrestling, bit of a mark in that direction, so I have a big soft spot because he was awesome in Mid-South. So yeah, that was very, very surprising. All right, so what else was that weekend? That was Black Label Pro as well. Or no, that was this past weekend.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that weekend was C4 Wrestling.
Yeah,
which
C4.
was the night before. So it was dude. It was this show ended up perfect for what the outcome was supposed to be bad. We were originally supposed to have Josh Alexander versus Martin Stone, and there were some complications getting him to C4. So what we ended up doing was changing the fact that he was even on the show and having Simon Grimm able to do both instead of me going into business for myself and saying like, well, screw you, C4. I know we made this agreement to work together, but I'm just going to stick to my original booking. So we ended up last minute getting Simon Grimm, which I'm actually very happy that we ended up doing. So he had a great match at C4, but the match everyone was talking about was myself versus Anthony Green and who the hell was the other guy in our match? Oh my God, I'm gonna be so. Oh, Tony Deppen.
All right.
And it was a match that should not have happened. It was supposed to be me versus Josh Briggs versus Facade, and I'm the only original person that ended up in that match. And people are saying it's match of the night. So that weekend kind of sparked like a new motivation for me. So that was a big weekend for me. And then to have that match with Josh Briggs the next day, which I'm very proud of for the Southside World title, very, very happy.
Yeah, I think that there's a bit more. Hey, Ethan Page is having some good matches buzz right now between that weekend. I know we'll get to it, but the three-way that you had this past weekend got a lot of love on Twitter. Obviously, I haven't been able to see that yet, but
from Supgraps.
Yep.
Yeah, that was another one too. And like the night before, myself versus Kobe Durst from Black Label Pro is getting some good buzz too. So I don't know. I'm just in the zone, man. I'm super excited for this weekend because we've got Alpha One again in Oshawa, and it's myself versus Mark Wheeler. I don't know. I don't know if it's like my fear of losing any kind of momentum or buzz now that I have a kid and like I've got bills to pay and stuff. So but who knows, man? Who knows? I'm just, maybe it's coming back from Japan and I don't want people to ever question why I was there. I just have like not a newfound love for wrestling because I always have, but I think I finally rubbed off the evolved funk I was in, and I'm just like, I'm going to stop doing what I think other people think is good professional wrestling, and I'm going to do what I think is good professional wrestling and just go out there and try and have the best match and steal the show.
All right. We can get into those other shows, but I know the thing that has come up the most over the past couple days has been an incident at AIW this past weekend. So give kind of the overview of exactly what happened.
Okay, so words used in this conversation, I don't condone. Obviously, you'll figure that out when the story starts going longer, but essentially, during my introduction for my match with Matt Justice at AIW, a fan in the audience yelled out, "Ethan Page is a fucking faggot."
That's not cool.
Right. So I interrupted my own intro to mess with him. I didn't do anything crazy. The story gets worse though. Hold on. So I didn't do anything malicious. I was just like, you know what? Maybe he's drunk. I'm just gonna bring up the fact that he shouldn't have said that and just kind of troll him a little bit and make fun of him. So that's essentially what I did. But as the match started going on, kept calling me a faggot. And I was like, oh, okay. I want to beat the shit out of this guy. So in the middle of the match, I went up into the stands. It was like a no disqualification. The whole show was no disqualification. So I went up into the stands and went face to face with him. And I was like, hey, are you going to call me a faggot again? And he was like, oh, yeah, oh. And I was like, I'm giving you the opportunity while we're nose to nose. Please, if you think you can call me a faggot again, do it, and I'll beat the shit out of you. Anyways, he didn't do anything. So 2 minutes later, I get spun around in the middle of this confrontation because a match is going on. I get hit. I get thrown into the barricade. I eat a disgusting cannonball into the barricade. He's taunting and kissing girls in the crowd, my opponent. This guy comes all the way down from the bleachers to get into my face again and call me a faggot again.
And I'm going to interrupt for just a second here.
So hold on.
I just want to. I want to point out one thing that I want to make very clear at this point in the story, that your issue is not, I don't want to be called a faggot. It's, no one should use that word.
Yeah, this should not even be an option.
Right. I just want to be very clear that you're not like, he called me gay and that sucks.
No. Dude, I don't care. The thing too is like, call me whatever you want. Call me fat. Call me a shitty wrestler. Call me, like, I had one fan send me an email thanking me for sticking up for what he believes in and his way of life. And he was like, I'm not a big fan of your wrestling, but it's changed now because of the way you stuck up for us. And in my email, I responded saying, dude, I don't care if you think I'm a shitty wrestler. You can still think I suck. It doesn't mean that I think that this guy should get away with whatever. I'm like, you don't need to be a fan of my professional wrestling. Just know that I'm not a piece of shit. was my email back to him. And I mean that, like, I take no offense to criticism or insult for that matter, but especially AIW, it's a place that, that's where I cut my teeth in professional wrestling. Every first opportunity I got was from there. And I've genuinely seen children grow up watching me wrestle there since, I believe, 2012. So, like, that's a very special place to me. And I have kids that buy my T-shirts and look up to me. And I don't want them to have to deal with this idiot yelling faggot with kids in the crowd. And it's a very progressive audience. I also have gay fans, lesbian fans, trans fans. And if they support me in what I choose to do with my life, which is professional wrestling, and I support them with what they choose to do with their life and how they want to live their life. And wrestling should never be a place where you're judged for that. Your ticket costs the same as everybody else. Everyone there is an equal. It doesn't matter what your beliefs are. As long as they don't hurt anybody, I support them. And I was refusing to allow this guy to openly use that term with those people in that crowd, especially because the first time he said it, the crowd kind of died down a little bit, and you could hear like the gasps of like, oh God, this guy is just getting out of control. And I was like, I'm not allowing it. So then I kind of addressed it the first time. Then he kept doing it, so I addressed him face to face. And then when he did it again, I made a mental note that I refused to allow him to get the last word. So after the match, I went back to him, and that's when I blew up, and that's what everyone is talking about.
Okay, so go through the where you had left it. Was you were in the guardrail? He came down. So from there, what had happened?
So he came down from the steps. He's up in like the balcony area, like the bleacher area. And he came down while I was selling, which is the most asinine part of this, is the fact that he thinks I'm actually injured enough that I'm going to lay there and let him like talk trash to me when in reality, wrestling's fake, and I could have just got up and beat the living shit out of him. So in my head, I'm like, oh, this guy is a complete moron. He thinks wrestling is real and that I'm actually injured right now, so he can get away with saying the craziest shit to me, calling me a faggot in front of children.
Or he's taking the gamble that you won't break the illusion for everybody else to deal with him.
Nah, this guy's for sure dumb.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, I know for a fact. So, so anyways, so he does that, and that's when I made the mental note that, okay, you're gonna address this after the match. You cannot allow this to be a thing that anybody ever does at this show again, which is terrible for Dr. Dan, because Dr. Dan and I had an angle to do after the match on a microphone where I essentially allow him to be my manager, which is not something the crowd wants. And I am a fan favorite at AIW. So I had to address this guy knowing that I would get the audience behind me, then find a way to segue into Dr. Dan offering me his managerial skills, to which he did not give me the line I needed to goat me into it. So I had to make up a reason that I wanted him as my manager on the fly while genuinely flustered and over the top angry at this bigot in the crowd. So it was just, and if you ask me to repeat what I said, honestly, I don't remember, because it was like a crime of passion.
So you went up, you blew up on the guy. Was he escorted out?
No.
Because that's where I'm lost, is just
right.
Kick the dude out.
Yes. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. Now, I was talking to Eric Ryan about this, where he had said, why didn't you just tell him to leave? Right? Like, while I was like talking to him. And I was like, well, the issue with that is all he would have to do is say no and stay in his seat, and I lose any sort of credibility and steam while I talk trash to this guy. And that's all it would have taken, was just him being like, nope, I'm not leaving. And I would have just looked like a bitch if I just sat there and go, well, okay.
Right. Without having the...
Because I didn't know, I wasn't like, okay, hey, security. Like, not that I'm not close enough with them. I am. I know security very well there, and I'm sure if I was like, hey, kick him out, they would have. But if I caused a stir and he just disagreed and was like, nah, man, I'm not leaving, then I would have had to hop the rail and force my will and make it happen. And that's not something I wanted to do as a professional wrestler. So it was very... I was walking on very, not thin ice, because I would have had the support of everyone, but it's not like, I had to make it as controlled as possible. So I thought addressing him and embarrassing him in front of every single person that was there was my best way of telling him, like, dude, this is not cool and we're not putting up with it.
And I mean, at this point, not everybody, but a lot of people know the guy's face and what he did. I mean, there were photos of it all over Twitter the night that it happened and the day after. So
yeah, and I would like to assume that AIW will not allow him to come back. I don't want to speak on their behalf, but they're very supportive of progressive thought. So, yeah.
And that's the thing. Wrestling has become such an inclusive place that, I mean, back in the day, that guy represented the majority far more than the minority like now.
Sure. I'll agree with that.
Right. But with things changing, there's not a place for it.
No, and there's really not. Dude, I'm not okay. So whatever on a personal level, the fact that people's feelings would be hurt. let's talk about this on a business level. So let's say, like, this is my job, right? So this company now, it has had a fan yell faggot to 300 people. Out of that 300 people, if this was not addressed, I would assume a father and his children would not be coming back to the show.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
So now that idiot is taking money away from not only the company that's helping young athletes grow their brand and become better performers, but it's taking money out of my pocket. And again, like, I have a daughter. This is not something that I'm okay with. So it's and like, obviously there's more important reasons that should be addressed. I'm just getting this on multiple levels of why this is absolutely not okay.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's, disgusting language to use to begin with.
Yep.
And the funny thing is, going to a pro wrestling show is one of the few places on earth that you get to go and freely yell how much you hate someone.
Yep, that's what I mean.
And you're doing your job as a fan to yell at a wrestler you don't like.
Yep.
But then you cross the line and all of a sudden it's not a fun activity anymore. You're trying to pretend that this is, the worst aspects of what ECW's peak brought out in wrestling fans.
Yep, I agree. And he looked like an ECW fan and wrestler.
Okay, so that's kind of the big thing that people wanted to hear about. But
that's the gist of that. But like, the thing that pissed me off the most was like this dude online was like, "Oh yeah, it's freedom of speech and whatever, the fucking 36th Amendment," or I don't know. I have no idea about American law.
It is the First Amendment, and it does not mean that you have the right to say whatever you want without facing consequences for saying it. It says the government cannot stop you from expressing yourself through speech. And even that comes with limitations. But being told you can't say something by a business or another person is not infringing on your freedom of speech. And if you think that, you're a dipshit.
Well, yeah, because isn't there laws against, like, ruining someone's character?
Yeah, I mean, there's libel, there's, there's defamation, there's a lot of stuff like that. And there's also, public decency. Like, you're in a building full of kids. The business is entirely within their rights to say you have to leave and you're never welcome back because you acted like an asshole.
Good.
And there's so much flexibility. And like, AIW is a pretty flexible place where if he screamed Ethan Page is a fucking asshole, cool. Maybe a little.
Oh, not even. I would have been like, yeah, you're probably right.
Right. And like, yeah, there might be a couple people that are like, I wish he didn't have to slip in but nobody's actually going to give it much thought. So you've got so much freedom to use anything other than getting into, slurs or hate speech or anything like that. And it's it's just a dumb insult to be trying to throw around in 2018 because it's not. The crowd of people that are going to be impressed by you saying that has gotten so small and consists of such stupid people that congratulations if anybody thought it was funny. The rest of us hate you.
Yep, agreed.
So what else went on over the past weekend? The Black Label Pro show you mentioned.
Yeah, oh my god, what the hell am I saying? Anyways, the Black Label show was awesome. I was the opening match against Kobe Durst. That also is already available on Powerbomb TV, so very exciting stuff. Check it out. I'm very proud of that match.
And then the Supgraps
was the following day, yeah, and that was a barn burner of a three-way dance. Mance Warner, Ethan Page, Maxwell Jacob Friedman. It was like 45 minutes of entertainment, and the first 15 minutes was just shit talking on the microphone. So great stuff.
All right. So yeah, man. How's everything else going then?
Oh, dude, honestly, it's going great. Like I said, like I have a newfound love for professional wrestling, which is a weird thing to say 11 years into my career. But it's true, and I'm very happy, and things are going very well, and I'm super motivated. Yeah, life is good. Being a dad is good. Wrestling is good. I'm just good. Everything's good.
That's good. So yeah, we mentioned a couple shows that are available on powerbomb.tv. I like to point out that they're not sponsors or anything, but a good service, and there's a benefit to one of the hosts here. So if you want to see those shows, go to powerbomb.tv, sign up using the promo code Alpha1. That's all one word, ALPHA, the number 1. You get 20 days for free. You can check out those shows. There's like a marathon of 4 shows this weekend that are streaming live. So
that I will be a part of at Freelance Wrestling, so you can check that out. And dude, PCO wrestled this weekend at Black Label Pro. Him versus Chris Dickinson. It was crazy.
I have not been able to check out the Black Label show yet. I'm probably going to do that tonight when I'm editing the audio here. So
heck yeah, we'll talk about it next week then.
So yeah, that's exciting stuff. Let's get to some of the questions. We got a good amount of questions again this week.
Yeah, let's do it.
You touched on this a little bit before, but Indy Matt V1 asked, how was Official Ego's experience at Progress Chapter 67, where he tagged with his brother Ricky Shane Page? Brother in quotes.
It was a great experience. It was a great experience to debut. I couldn't be happier with who I was able to team with. I love Ricky. I love the experience I had at Progress. It was a very good time. I love the guys that run the company, so it was awesome. Couldn't be happier. A lot of now that the VOD is out, you can check it out, and a lot of fans are requesting that we make our return to England as a tag team. So that would be pretty cool.
Nice. Let's see. We got a bunch from our good buddy character of the show, Wade Buswell. How excited are you to bring back the Monster Mafia to A1?
Oh, I'm excited. Fans are excited. The reaction for that was something that we couldn't have even planned. And I think it really added to the iPay-per-view stream too, just to, show people how much our fans truly care about our talent. And the more I think about it, it's pretty crazy. The best 2 Canadian wrestlers that still live in the country are a tag team. So how cool. That's like Macho and freaking Savage.
And I was actually, I don't even remember how I ended up there, but I ended up reading the Slam Sports thing that Josh had written when the Why I'm Walking Away from Wrestling thing.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and that was a real weird thing to read right after watching him wrestle again. But yeah, that's an interesting thing to go back and read, I think.
Oh yeah, no kidding. Because the guy thought his career was over, and it turns out he was misdiagnosed, and he did not break his neck a second time. And back to the ring he went, and I tried to help him out as best as I could with a perfect angle and Alpha One Wrestling for him to return. And he's been on a path of dominance ever since, just having matches that nobody else but him can have. So I'm excited to be a part of those matches as the Monster Mafia returns to action in Alpha One.
Yeah, and he talks a lot about the car rides you guys took in that article and how obsessed you were with Fate.
I'm super obsessed with Fate.
So I guess I should have brought that up earlier, but yeah, when I had read that, I was wondering. I guess just I don't know, if you have an obsession with Fate, just the last couple months with the kid and finally going to Japan and having Alpha One go live on a iPay-per-view has to be a little wild.
Yeah, man, it's just it's been nonstop, and you know, I owe a lot to my wife just for dealing with it all while it's happening, like for allowing me to go to Japan at such a crucial time when our child is so very young. And yeah, man, I don't know, like, yeah, I just believe in everything happens for a reason to a degree, and as long as you're ready for it when it comes, then the best. Essentially make the best of every opportunity, but you always have to be ready. So that's where I'm at all the time with professional wrestling. And anytime someone gets super discouraged, it's always my go-to advice is just like, you never know what's going to happen because wrestling is its own machine. You just need to be ready at all times for anything to happen.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, you coming out of Evolve, you had the very... I guess the smart move of the whole hottest free agent in wrestling thing, which if you didn't take opportunities as they came along, including big opportunities, then after a while that feels like, okay, but what's he doing? Like, oh, he's such a hot free agent, but what's he actually doing? And I guess just, I guess the process of taking advantage of opportunities and continuing to grow is impressive to an outsider.
Well, thank you, man. I genuinely do obsess over wrestling and making sure that I make the best of everything and constantly have something in the works, because I feel like now it's so easy for people to forget about you and not talk about you. So making sure that I'm on everybody's mind on a regular basis is a very big goal of mine.
Okay, so here's a weird twist on that related to what we talked about. Is there a part of you that is almost like, well, it's pretty cool I got to yell at a guy this weekend and everybody's talking about it because...
No, I actually was speaking to my wife about it, and I was like, I don't want this to be what people know me for. Like, I don't want... Like, I was telling her, I'm like, I have like 150 new followers, and I know that's another thing I obsess over is building up Ethan Page, and I don't want that to be the reason people know me, because that's not me. Like, I'm a just regular guy, married man, have a kid, I come home every single night, I wear my wedding ring while I wrestle. I'm not like a big attention whore outside of professional wrestling, but then again, that's the reason I wrestle. I'm not tweeting stuff for shock value, or you'll never see me hashtag when someone dies, because I don't think that that's necessary. I didn't know them personally. I'm not going to use that as a way to further my career. I'm not going to jump on a trend and hashtag whatever day it is to create awareness for something when in reality these people don't actually give a shit about it. It's just like it's all for attention, and I'm not that person. So it was very upsetting to me that this was turning into like a big attention thing. And two, like, it was live. You had to be there. And I mistakenly tweeted a photo saying I just looked really jacked in the picture, and that's why I wanted to tweet it. It was me yelling. It was me yelling at the guy, saying like, consequences come with shit that you say. And I was like, oh man, this sucks, because now it's turning into like a big thing. And then I had the guy bring up his rights, and I was like, yeah, I'm not allowing this.
Right, yeah, it's another one of those things that you absolutely have the right to say it, but people have the right to react to it as they see fit. Yeah, also, I mean, a weird thing you were talking about, like your social media and everything. Like, last week when we were, or I guess 2 weeks ago now, when I was getting ready to start promoting the episode where we talked about WrestleMania weekend and Joey Janela's spring break and everything, I was like, hey, I'm going to cut some audio out, make a little, like, teaser audio thing. And you were very quick to be like, yeah, cut out the swearing because it's Twitter. So, I mean... fairly in control of the Twitter game and what you want to represent yourself as.
Yeah, because like I enjoy having fans that are young, because that's what this is for. Like I wrestle for the magic of professional wrestling. It's not like I don't care about being cool to the 25-year-olds that go to PWG. Like that has nothing to do with my career. I love the magical moments of professional wrestling for the kids and the families.
Yeah, I'm getting into a real fun time with my daughter where this past weekend she kneed a pillow and then told me she just did a Nakamura knee, and I wanted to cry because I've apparently done everything so right.
Hell yeah, man. That's awesome.
But yeah, we talked a bit about Josh Alexander, and Wade Buswell asked Dream World, who would you rather see him wrestle, Dean Malenko, William Regal, or Ultimo Dragon?
Josh, I would love to see him wrestle Ultimo Dragon. He does very well with flyers. And not that him and Dean Malenko wouldn't be good or him and Regal wouldn't be good, but if I was booking, it would be Ultimo Dragon. Because it's just the way he can control these guys that, especially smaller guys, it would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'd go Regal, but that's just a personal preference of they'd beat the shit out of each other, and it'd be really awesome.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure Josh is like, oh, what the hell? You couldn't pick William Regal? But, I mean, this isn't really happening, so.
Right. Let's see. If you were to get into a fight, who would you want as your backup?
Josh? That was easy.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's see.
Where there has been many occasions where that was a possibility, and I'm like, oh, Josh, I'm so glad you're here.
Monster Mafia can wrestle any tag team in history. Who and why?
Any tag team in history? Holy shit. Well, obviously, I want to wrestle the Rock and Sock Connection for selfish reasons, but in reality, man, I don't know. Edge and Christian, the Hardy Boys. There was a time where we were supposed to wrestle the Hardys and the Dudleys in a TLC match. Yes, that is true. It did not come true, though.
Okay, where was this?
This was supposed to be in Canada for that promotion called Destiny, which is running this Sunday. I will not advertise it, though, anyways. So, because I am competing against them in Oshawa, Ontario. So show up to Oshawa, guys. Hornswoggle's going to be there. Yay. Anyways, yeah, it was supposed to be there. And it was all hearsay. But that was what was told to me, and we were very excited for it, obviously.
That would have been wild.
Hell yeah, TLC with Dudleys and the Hardys. Are you out of your mind? That would have been insane.
Wade also asked, have you worked in all 50 states?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, you haven't worked Alaska or Hawaii, I would assume.
No.
So there you go.
No. But there is independent wrestling in Hawaii.
There absolutely is.
Yeah.
Top Rope Tony on Twitter. Thoughts on Impact's Redemption pay-per-view? I didn't watch it.
I didn't either. When I am home, I tend to spend as much time as possible with my family, especially my daughter. So it's a very time-consuming thing to be a good parent. So, yeah, focus on that. And I was wrestling on Sunday, not for Impact, so it's not really something that I was able to pay attention to. I did follow it online via GIFs and internet, so that was cool. And I'm very happy that they're doing very well and that the pay-per-view is getting rave reviews. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to check it out. Like I said, a whole lot of stuff was going on personally, plus, the dad thing, and Christy is ready for this baby to come out anytime now. That would be, we're in that kind of 2-week gap where anytime from now on would be perfectly fine.
Oh yeah, man, we're gonna have to cancel another episode in a couple couple days or a couple weeks. So
unless it's on the day, I will find the time to record. But
hey, look at that! What a cool guy, everybody. Let's just give Brent a pat on the fucking back.
Well, we should be kicking Brent in the fucking ass because the episode with all the spring break talk is now officially our second biggest episode ever. So, of course, the week after that episode with a bunch of new listeners, I'm like, oh, life. Take a week off.
Oh, dude, don't sweat it. Don't. If they hit subscribe, they're going to get an update as soon as it comes out. So,
yeah,
don't even worry about it.
So we're good there. But, yeah, I haven't had a chance to check out Impact's pay-per-view. I might at some point if I can. Question 2 from Tony was Scott Steiner or PCO?
Oh, Scott Steiner. No offense to PCO. I don't know if he listens. He's going to probably send me a text being like, what the hell? You picked Scott Steiner over me? Yes, because it's Scott Steiner.
I'd say, like, historically Scott Steiner, but if I had to watch one of their matches, like, current PCO
Today?
or Steiner, then it'd be PCO.
Yeah, agreed. Although Steiner throwing Frankensteiners out at Impact, so, I mean...
Yeah, that's a little wild. PCO's just unpredictable. Well, they're both crazy, so I guess that's a tough call.
Yeah, good question.
Stuck on a desert island with access to just one wrestling match, what would it be?
Oh my God.
I'd personally say either Austin Rock from WrestleMania 17 or right now Ciampa Gargano from the last NXT TakeOver, because I feel like there were layers to that I could pretend to get really intellectual with over multiple rewatches.
I would probably ignorantly pick something that I did. If I'm stuck on an island, I would want to remember something that I'm proud of that I've done while I'm hating my life on that island. So it would probably be something I'm very proud of. So, yeah.
I mean, I could say that too. I was in a battle royal once with CM Punk, so that's a thing.
Yeah, there you go.
But no, because I was also the first person out of that, which is probably for the best. Thoughts? Thoughts on the Venom trailer?
Oh, dude, people are hating it. I don't know why.
I didn't watch it. If I would have seen this question, I would have made sure to watch it.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. I think that just them releasing footage of the actual costume just gave me new life for that movie. Because
well, that was our big thing with the first trailer, was that it wasn't a Venom trailer in any way.
Exactly. It was just some movie with Tom Hardy.
So I'll have to actually go watch that. Hey, what's your Avengers plan?
Oh, dude. Okay, so I love that you asked me this because I'm so effing pumped. So I already bought my tickets. I've already got a babysitter. It is all set. There is no backing out. If my wife reads a spoiler, she has signed a non-disclosure to not bring it up to me because I refuse to have this movie spoiled for me. I am so effing excited. I cannot control it. I do not want to wrestle this weekend. I want nothing to do with my job whatsoever. All I want to do is go see that freaking movie because they have done an absolutely amazing job convincing me that some crazy ass shit is going to happen because they have put out so much material requesting that people do not spoil the movie.
Yeah, that's tough. I have to figure out a way to get out and see it this weekend.
You really do, dude, because I'm not kidding, like they just released another video yesterday with all the cast members pretty much being like, don't spoil the movie, don't be a piece of shit.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to, just because there's no way I can go any later than Sunday without having it spoiled. Because I can stay off the internet for the most part, or the corners of the internet where it would be spoiled. if I have to until Sunday. But past
Dude.
Sunday, I don't think I have a chance.
If it's I'm going on Monday. So like there's a chance I'm gonna have to stab somebody.
I feel like we will plan for next week to talk about the Avengers movie at the end of the episode, where people can dip out after listening to everything else. And,
Love it.
And we can
Love
get
it.
into it.
Love it. That's a very respectful way to handle this, and I can't freaking wait.
Yeah, very, very excited. One more thing from Top Rope Tony. He is in the UK. He did some UK coverage for us at Flow Slam back in the day. He wanted to give you a heads up that all the Toys R Us stores in the UK are now closed.
What? I thought that the UK and Canada weren't closing.
That's what I thought, but I mean, Tony's there. I trust Tony.
Yeah, so do I. Man, that's awful. What a turn of events. Okay, I have a question. We've spoke about this before, but at AIW, there was a fan theory that was given to me while selling merchandise that I need to discuss with you. So, who do you think is going to die in this movie?
I mean, this will be the third time we've talked about this in 24 episodes, I think.
And that is a good thing, because that means we are freaking excited.
I mean, I've said Tony Stark over and over, even though that seems like the most transparently obvious answer. But I feel like I'd be cheating to step away from that.
Okay, so you're sticking with it.
I'll stick with it.
All right, that's fine. I'll allow it. So a fan told me that he thinks it's Gamora.
Okay.
And his theory is, and now I don't know if I'm getting worked, because my wife, the lovely lady that she is, purchased the Thanos comic book for me. Essentially, it's his like origin story. So I was reading that right before I left for Cleveland, and it got me so pumped for the movie. And when he dropped this like theory on me, I just fell in love with it and for it instantly. So, as a comic book fan, who does Thanos love the most?
Oh God. Death.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, now, in the movie universe, who does Thanos love the most?
In the movie universe?
Yeah, in the MCU.
You lost me. Hang on.
Gamora,
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
his favorite daughter.
Yeah.
Okay, so to court death, he had to essentially burn down Titan.
Right.
So who is he going to have to kill in the movie to court death?
Yeah. I guess that makes way too much sense.
Right?
And by the way, the Thanos comics you were talking about are available on Marvel Unlimited, which you can, get a subscription to and read stuff digitally, and it's a very good deal. So if somebody's listening and wants to get even more excited, then yeah, there you go.
Awesome. There
That
you
is
go.
That is a good fan theory.
Isn't it? I thought so, dude. I was like, oh, yo, that is awesome.
Yeah, I got really thrown off because I was looking up before I talked out of my ass to make sure that that was on Marvel Unlimited, and yeah, then you were dropping the quiz stuff on me. Let's see, we got I think
Quiz stuff.
Mr. Bagshaw on Twitter wanted you to talk about the incident with the fan where you apologized, but you didn't need to. And then also, you did win the Buffet Bracket 2018, which we talked about before.
Oh, wow, look at me. I'm so awesome.
Yeah, so the people over at Two Heels and a Face podcast, which is a very good podcast. If you want more wrestling, go go do that. So apart from winning the Buffet Bracket 2018 this week, what award/trophy, not necessarily a title, are you most proud of?
Probably the J-Lit tournament, because that was like the first real big thing I did. Obviously, PWG tag titles is up there, just because I got to do that with Josh Alexander. I don't know, man. I'm not really like a big belt person. Like, I don't really care about that kind of stuff. The Evolve tag titles was cool because it was like an accomplishment in that company that I was like, oh, wow, look, he actually gave me something. Yeah, let's go with those.
Yeah, the Evolve, the one night Evolve tag title run was, I don't know, it felt so weird because it felt almost like Gabe allowing you guys to have them not as a fuck you to you, but for you to have a fuck you to them. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. So that I can never say that they never gave me anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree. I know that. And the funniest thing is that Gabe literally said out of his mouth, this is a real thing. He said, hey, look, now that'll be on your Wikipedia page forever. So that is exactly what he wanted to do.
Okay, well, I feel very good having nailed that exactly.
Yeah, you nailed it, bro.
All right, so that should do it for us. Why don't you go ahead and plug your stuff?
Well, Twitter, @officialego. Instagram, @official_ego. I know, guys, it's annoying. Powerbomb.tv. Use promo code Alpha1, ALPHA, the number 1. You get 20 days for free when you sign up. Check it out. Honest to God, it's probably the best service online that's not WWE. I understand that they have a pretty good service, too. Check it out. It's awesome. Just for Alpha 1 alone, I think there's 21 events, including Show Me What You Got. I would love fans to send reviews to us to read on the podcast of Show Me What You Got. So it doesn't cost you anything. It's not a lie. It's free for 20 days. If you can't watch a 2-hour show in 20 days, you're way too busy to be a wrestling fan. So check it out. Let us know what you think, and we'll read your reviews online. Use promo code Alpha1. And yeah, ProWrestlingTees.com/Ethan Page. I'll never discourage someone from supporting my wrestling career and checking that out.
And I'll throw out not just reviews of the latest show, but go ahead and watch the old shows. We'll talk about your reviews of those also.
Heck
Why
yeah,
not?
send them in, and we'll read them. Obviously, don't send a novel, but maybe your favorite match or two and overall thoughts of the show.
Right on. So I am at Brent Brookhouse on Twitter. You can follow my work at CagesideSeats.com. They are the good people who make this podcast possible. You can also find some of my work over at BloodyElbow.com, which is a sister site to Cageside Seats. They talk MMA. Cageside Seats talks wrestling. I talk both. And make sure that you subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, whatever podcast platform you prefer. Leave us a rating and a review. That does good things for us. And we will be back next week to talk all kinds of stuff, but especially the Avengers.
Oh, yeah, we're doing it.
I can't wait, man. I will talk to you next week.
Me too, man. I'm literally like as hard as a diamond right now.
Gross.
I'm never wrong. I'm a living monument to being better than anyone. So tell me something I don't know. You can watch me on my next show. I can show